Hi, g'day from Australia, Jacob Crypto Critics here. Okay, we're going to do a quick one and I'm going to learn to make them shorter, so I do apologise for my hour rant yesterday, but ArcBlock, let's get into it straight up to the bat. ArcBlock sold out pretty quickly, we're talking about 10 minutes or less. Now, from what I'm gathering and from the way it looks, each address appears to be a private wallet address, so it's not run by a smart contract, and I think because of that it could get interesting. And as I've clearly stated, I'll go through here. Oh, I do lie. Now, they had pretty strict regulations about the gas and grey, and basically how much grunt you're going to try and get your transaction processed with. And I hope they do adhere to it, because the rumour is there's a lot of people suggesting that the rules that were set, and they were set, I can't remember what they were, when they had the page up and the private address, it did clearly say something like 60 grey and 200k. But anyway, end of the day, a lot of people have sent money. Things sold out pretty quick, and the money's now locked up. Now, there's some debate about what's going on online, and I would suggest tinfoil hat one theory, and we'll go with just what they've provided information. So they're suggesting the tokens will be released 4 weeks after the sale, so we're still looking at 4 weeks for anyone that did get in, and obviously no more contributions are filled up. And the refunds will start to process in 5 weeks. So we're talking start of processing in 9 weeks, which could be a bit of concern for anyone that didn't follow the golden rule of not putting in. Well, I always follow non-investment advice, but my rules and any advice that I give is non-investment advice. I don't invest more than 5% of any particular portfolio. So I have a couple. I have an ICO portfolio, I'll have a liquid asset, or like US Tether and fiat portfolio, and then I'll have a long-term hold portfolio. And as long as I've got some fiat or Tether, I'm happy, and I won't go past any more than 5% of my liquid capital on any ICO, and I'm usually a Scrooge. So here you can see I've just chucked in 0.5. I'm just looking for a return. If I can, double that, triple that, I'm happy. It'll expand my my capital, and if it does really well, I can take out book profits, as I've done throughout the last few months. And if something turns, then at least I've already got my initial investment and a bit of play money back out. But look, there's a lot of grunt and there's a lot of heat going through the channel at the moment. I'll see if I can bring it up. Yeah. No, I must be on another browser. Yeah, here we go. So in typical ICO fashion, there's some heat going through the channel, because people are now just realising that they're going to be holding on to their tokens for a while. And this is where my tinfoil hat time. Depending on what calculations they did with the hard cap, if they're calculating on, let's say, Ethereum being around 1,000, and Ethereum decides to take a dip to 600, 650, which is what I'm thinking it could, well, it is in scope and capable of doing, then it would make their hard cap less than desirable. So having those funds locked up, and I'm looking at the language, it's a pending transaction. So what it's saying right now is, yes, we're still going to do something, where I might return it, we might do so. I'd be interested to see if they don't meet their hard cap. Again, this might muck up the token metrics, and I was thinking a lot of ICOs that have had their markets closed and the TGE closed in the last few weeks might be reassessing, especially if the pre-sales, a lot of them are shutting shop because the pre-sales had peaked and it hit $1,000, $1,200 Ethereum. So what could happen is if it goes down to $650, a lot of those closed events are now going to be staring at half the market cap at launch. So there's two avenues of if this happens, if and when they hit their exchange, the market cap's going to be potentially impacted, and that could be a good investment opportunity right there and then. So whilst there's a lot of people saying, yeah, buy now, everything's a bargain, I think the bargains might still be coming, because if they have to release to exchange as per white paper agreements, they can't muck up the token metrics without dilution or something bad going on, then they're going to be launching at the exchanges with potentially half the cap that they reached. Now that could mean some bargains. Keep an eye on that space, and I am too. I'm looking at a few. I'll take a shout out to a guy called Aaron who's pointed me in a few directions. And that's what it's all about. Everyone point, everyone help. Sometimes this space is so big, everything flies below the radar. So to find these little nuggets out there, it's quite nice. And as I said today on the channel, it's okay to be digging for gold, but sometimes you miss out on diamonds. Don't keep focusing on buying the dip or anything. Maybe have a look at other potential opportunities. Be interesting to see what happens to ArcBlock. We're going to cut this one about right there. Hooroo from Oz. Keep an eye on the ArcBlock space and upcoming and ICOs that have reached hard caps and now might be in a compromised position. And we'll come back to this in a few weeks' time and see what happens. Now, I'm still going to a quick call out. I still think, look, Bitcoin, Litecoin, all the major coins, potentially, look, I bought a small position in Litecoin at 130. I sold at 160, I think it is now. I'm hoping it's going to touch back on 130. But if it does that, then it's probably may drop down to 80. We're looking at Bitcoin. It's kind of trying to hold above the 8.8 margin at the moment. Give me a second. One of these things is not... okay. So, yeah. Bitcoin's broken 8.8. But it's still well below... yeah, many support levels. So I'm still looking at it to if it doesn't successfully break open and get past 11, it's going to head its way down and it will touch on about 7.5. And as I was saying today on Facebook, worst case scenario, and because it has already proven this with a trend, you've got to be mindful. Worst case scenario, it could be 5.5, and then it'll be interesting to see what happens at that point. Then, as I said, I bought Litecoin at 130ish the other day. I had a buy order, and it was only a small one because I'm just using Coinigi for the first time, Coinigi or whatever they want to call it, for the first couple of time. I paid for a subscription, and I just want to make sure that my buys and sells are working somewhat planned. You don't go sticking lots of dollars out on some new product and hope that it's going to work for the best. So at the moment, I'm more interested in Litecoin coming down to 85. I will be buying a fair position at 85. And worst case, it may even come down below all that to where it started off in 50. I've still got a fair bit of coin to throw around, so I'm not buying the bargains, but I am mindful. It's come back up, it's broken a support, but how long will it sit there, and does it have enough grunt to break and keep going? I don't think so. Not financial advice. But if someone else has got another opinion, by all means, drop me a line. We might even Skype you, chuck it on there. I'm not about trying to own this space. Look, I like to have crypto critics as a community thing. I'd love to have a few people involved, especially those who've got particular skills and areas. It would be great to have a tax guy or another opinion from a financial person, because I'm relatively new. I think we're all, there's some good... I'll take a shout out. I learned from some really nice people that are willing to share, and whilst I might not be right, I'm always willing to improve. So having that attitude, learn from your mistakes, but at the moment I'm having fun because I've still got money to play. I'm not playing around much when I am playing because I'm just I'm a bit skeptical of what's going on, and who knows, I'm happy to buy in even if it's broken a few support lines. I'm happy to buy back in and then take up within. Again, I won't put any more than 5% on any particular thing. Spread the load, have a different portfolios, have different risks. So having a long-term, short-term, medium-term, ICOs, things you believe in versus things you don't believe in. Anyway, I'm out of here. I'm rambling. It's easy to do. Take it easy. Hooroo from Oz.